Elliot W. Eisnner has made a significant contribution to our appreciation of the educational process. He is particularly known for his work in arts education, curriculum studies, and educational evaluation. His examination of process and the artistry of education is of particular importance for the sphere of informal education, from Jeffs and Smith's work. His work shares a number of important themes with John Dewey, Donald Shun, and Howard Gardner, around multiple intelligences. His focus began on art as such, and moved to art education. In 2001, P. Bruce Ermacher commented that this man has striven not merely to infuse education with art, but to make art central to the mission of schools. Welcome, Dr. Eisnner.
Thank you for having me.
I'd also like to welcome a couple of visual arts educators who have joined our panel this evening.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Dr. Eisnner, the impetus of a lot of your research was driven by the fact that you worried that most schools, by failing to properly appreciate the significance of art, were offering an unnecessarily narrow and seriously unbalanced approach to education. You and Howard Gardner, in his theories of multiple intelligences, agreed that those practices lacked proper attention to artistic modes of thinking.
Yes, this is true. I made the case for developing a proper attention to the cognitive in art rather than it being only driven by emotional and what were termed creative forces. I also argued back in 1988 that approaches which simply gave children arts materials in the hope that their creativity might flow resulted in programs with little or no structure, limited artistic content, and few meaningful aims.
In large measure it is due to Dr. Eisner's advocacy that art education has become a content-oriented discipline.
I agree.
Some say that your influence has been achieved through your involvement in key projects and initiatives. These include the Kettering Project, begun in 1967, which provided curriculum materials for new and untrained elementary teachers, and was based around your theories, and the Getty Center for Education in the Arts, where you served on the advisory board from 1982 on. The Getty Center is well known for its advocacy of what has become known as discipline-based art education, or DBAE. Discipline-based art education emphasized four main content areas or disciplines: 1. Art production, 2. Art history, 3. Art criticism, and 4. Aesthetic inquiry.
I believe that viewing education work as an expression of artistry allows us to look beyond the technical and to develop more creative and appropriate responses to the situations that educators and learners encounter.
I have been particularly inspired by Dr. Eisner's message in his books The Art of Educational Evaluation and later in The Enlightened Eye.
It was a big departure from the formulaic and technical orientation of the then current, dominant approaches to curriculum activity and education work.
When we return from the break, we will be discussing Dr. Eisner's theory on connoisseurship and criticism. Please stay tuned. Please click onto the next URL link to view part 2 of the interview with Eisner.